Why we need to be aware of plastic pollution. Why do we need to put a stop to plastic pollution? The world is awash in plastic. It's in our cars, our carpets, we wrap it around the food that we eat, in virtually every other product we consume. It has become a key lubricant of globalization, but it's choking our future in ways that most are barely aware of. That was said by Charles J. Moore of the New York Times, who wrote an article called Choking the Oceans with Plastic. The history behind plastic consumer use and the current state needs to become public knowledge for this problem to have a viable solution. About 300 million tons of plastic is produced each year, and about half of it is used once and thrown away. The average time that a plastic bag is used is about just under 12 minutes. Over the last 50 years, plastic production has doubled worldwide. A few points that I want to touch on today are ocean pollution, land pollution, and what are some good alternatives instead of using plastic. Specifically with ocean pollution, 90% of plastic polluting our oceans is carried by just 10 rivers. There is an estimated 5 trillion pieces of plastic in our ocean. Marine life gets tangled into plastic or even mistakes plastic for food, and when they eat that, it can lead to starvation or even suffocation. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is the largest example of plastic pollution in our oceans, that is, and it is about 2 times the size of Texas. 2018 was the year of the plastic straw. News segments, think pieces, hot takes, social media posts declared that the plastic straw was public enemy number 1. The story had everything a kid on a mission against the corporate world, a gut-wrenching video of a sea turtle with a straw stuck in its nose, an easy-to-understand problem. We also had to have a clear resolution requiring hardly any sacrifice. To save the environment, we just had to stop using plastic straws, or even start to cut back on plastic straws. But would that ever be enough? That was said by Lauren Hancock, who works with the World Wildlife Fund. The second point that I want to touch on is land pollution. Plastic pollution can be found on every single beach in the world. Only 9% of plastic gets recycled, and then most of it ends up in our landfills. Countries like Canada, the United States, and the UK export their plastic waste to different countries. Beneath each of the thousands of landfills in the United States, chemicals from the plastic drainage seep into the soil and make it toxic. The next point that I want to talk about is going to be some good alternatives to plastic. On the site Earth Easy, I found an article that was called The Best Eco-Friendly Alternatives for the Plastic in Your Life. The 3 that I picked from their site is bamboo, glass, and the platinum silicone. Bamboo is a great alternative to plastic because it's fast growing, it's a renewable resource, it's lightweight, durable, and compostable. Using bamboo is great for any silverware. Instead of using plastic silverware or plastic straws, you can use bamboo straws. You can trade out your plastic toothbrush if you have just a basic one for a bamboo one, because then it will be at least a little bit easier for the earth to break down at that point. The next that I picked was glass. It's going to be totally recyclable. You can either take it to your local store. I know I buy these gallon bottles that are glass that has lemonade in them. I save them all up and I take them back to the store when I'm ready to, because then I can just trade it in for money and then buy more lemonade. The next is going to be it's easy to clean, and then it can be repurposed for another use. The next that I picked is platinum silicone. It's going to be the image that I chose of the food containers. Platinum silicone is great to store food. If you need to, instead of using plastic Tupperware, you can use that, and then that way it's going to be around for a little bit longer rather than, just the flimsy Tupperware. Platinum silicone is great because it's primarily made out of sand. And and like I mentioned before, the food grade platinum silicone is flexible and very durable. You can, put it right into the microwave and heat it up. It doesn't have any effect as far as heating up that silicone. The last thing that I want to talk about today is just the positives of plastic. There are going to be a lot of people that are still in the world that think that plastic is going to be the way to go, using it because it's in a lot of things that we use, specifically with plastics and packaging. I know for the company I work for, we have a blister pack that we put the pieces, our magnetic construction pieces in, and it goes inside of a cardboard box and it sits like that. We get a lot of customers that do call in and ask that we don't use so much plastic, but it's kind of a big process to take our products and package them. It's throwing away a lot of money that we spent on that packaging and stuff like that. But a lot of people use plastic because it's very lightweight, it keeps items secure, and then the average packaging weight of a product has been reduced about 28 times. So there are efforts that people are trying to put into place to try and use a little bit less plastic. Plastics and energy efficiency. Plastics are going to be found in a lot of products that we use around our home to keep it more energy efficient, specifically when it's wintertime and there's a draft that's coming through your windows. People will take saran wrap and put it over the windows so that cool air doesn't get into your house, to try and make it sure that you keep your house warm. Plastic is also found in different sealants, or even different caulks. A lot of LED lights have plastics in them, and I know me in my house, we do use LED lights. They're just a little bit nicer to use instead of just your regular light bulbs. So in conclusion, despite plastic being one of the most widely utilized materials, the nature, origin, and the use of plastic remains poorly known or understood to the majority of people. If we all help, we can all try and save the world. It's very hard when you have a lot of people who are either dead set on trying to stop using a lot of plastic and try and use different alternatives, but then you have a lot of people that really just don't care. We can put a stop to using most unnecessary products or replacing the products with better alternatives. Instead of using a plastic bag from the grocery store, bring your own reusable bags. Instead of, using plastic silverware, use something that's an alternative, whether it's a piece of metal silverware or a piece of bamboo silverware. At least you're stopping from using something that doesn't necessarily have to be used. We can all at least go take some time out of our busy days that we have. I know it's hard with living in Michigan. Nobody wants to go to the beach when it's 30 degrees outside, but at least in the summertime, take the time to go to your local park or a local beach or one of the Great Lakes and just take the day and spend it cleaning up the litter that's all over the beach, or even in your local park. I know right now going around on the internet is a lot of plastic, like the rubber gloves that are just sitting in different parking lots because nobody wants to bring that into their car, especially with the coronavirus going on right now. But take that little extra time to make sure that you're taking care of the earth. If you can put a stop to using some of these products, you should definitely go ahead with it. And these are my references that I used for this speech.